Hello everybody, welcome back to Tom Reads Things. My name is Tom. I hope you are all very well. So what I thought I would do today is kind of do a mid-month chat really, talk about some of the books that I've been reading this month and to also talk about some of the booktuber channels that I've been really enjoying as well so far in June. So to kick off with, I've been really enjoying content from Charlie Brooke. Her channel is called Charlie Brooke. And she does really great videos. She does kind of chatty videos. She does kind of TBRs. Recently, she did a kind of couple of videos with Julie from The Hungry Bookworm, where they went out book shopping, and did kind of book haul videos. And I think Julie lent her and her sister Emily some books, and they kind of talked through those, and they each did a video on that. So that was really interesting. Really like her content. If you haven't subscribed to her, make sure you do. I'll link her channel down below. So the next channel that I've been really enjoying is Jenny over at Bookish Shenanigans. That's quite hard to say that. So her channel is absolutely brilliant. She's got a really great sense of humour. I think she's fairly new. I came to know her from Katie's channel, Katie over at Books and Things. She kind of recommended her. And yeah, she's brilliant. She reads a kind of really good mix of classics and literary fiction. She's also doing a PhD on Victorian pubs, which is really interesting. So she talks a lot about that. She reads so many books. I have no idea how she gets through so many books, as well as reading for her PhD as well. I'm just like, I can barely read 2 books a month, and she's just like smashing them out. So yes, Jenny over at Bookish Shenanigans, do go and check out her channel. It's brilliant. And the last channel that I've been really enjoying this month is Emily over at Novell Novels. Again, I think she's fairly new to BookTube, probably around the same time as I started. She talks so passionately about books, and I really am enjoying the content from her channel. You can tell she just absolutely loves reading, and she does it all just for the love of it, and that really comes across in her videos. She does a lot of different tag videos, a TBR, she might do a wrap up, or she does a tag. She has one of the most moving and insightful videos that I've ever seen on BookTube, where she talks about the mental health-a-thon, a kind of readathon that she was doing, and she talks about her own story. And I just thought it was such an amazing video. So Emily, thank you very much for making that. I think it's a really important video, and really important that these things are spoken about more on YouTube. But aside from that, her content is absolutely brilliant, and I really enjoy watching her videos. So yes, I'll link her channel down below, so do go and check her out, Emily at Novell Novels. And Emily, make sure you read The Binding. So, what have I been reading this month? So I've already spoken about this first book before on my channel in one of my previous videos, but it was the first book that I finished at the beginning of this month, and that is Once Upon a River by Diane Setterfield. So this book is brilliant. It's so good. It follows the story of a young girl who is found dead in the river, and she is brought to an inn along the River Thames one night, and suddenly, miraculously, she comes back to life. And it's the story of kind of the families and the different people around that inn and around that community who lay claim to her, and the different kind of conflicts that go on from there. It's kind of bordering on magical realism, and it's just absolutely brilliant historical fiction. I won't talk about this too much because I have already spoken about it, but it's the first Diane Setterfield novel that I've read, and I'll absolutely be reading more of her work. I cannot wait. I'm going to get the 13th tale and read that next, I think, of hers. So yeah, really looking forward to that. The next book I read was The Heavens by Sandra Newman. So this book I was really looking forward to. I think it's probably one of my most anticipated reads of this year. So it follows the story of a lady called Kate, a young lady called Kate, who lives in New York City, in Manhattan at the turn of the millennium, so kind of the year 2000. And she meets at a party a guy called Ben, and they start dating. And you come to understand that Kate, whenever she falls asleep, she is transported from the year 2000 in New York City to England in the kind of mid 16th century, I believe. It's really strange because at first you kind of don't really understand whether it's just a dream or whether when she falls asleep she is actually transported to kind of like a previous life, and it kind of goes on from there and talks about how she's kind of got to do stuff in the life that she leads when she falls asleep, in the life of this other woman that she kind of inhabits the body of when she falls asleep. She's got to do things in those dream spaces that will affect the reality of when she wakes up. It's quite complex, but it is really interesting. I thought I was going to love this more than I did. One of the things that I didn't like, or that I found a bit difficult to swallow, is the fact that when she goes back in time, she meets historical figures that actually really existed. And I just sometimes find that a bit corny. I thought I was going to love the historical bits more than the bits set in the year 2000, but actually I really enjoyed Sandra Newman's writing when she was writing about Kate and Ben's relationship. Kate's the assumption that Kate is dealing with mental health issues when she talks about the dreams that she's having. All of that kind of stuff I found more engaging than the pieces written in the 16th century. So it's definitely worth a read. It's very, very short, so it's one you can kind of tear through. But yeah, it was one of my most anticipated reads. Didn't quite live up to the hype that I'd given it myself, and that's probably why, because I'd hyped it up too much in my own brain. But yeah, I still did really, really enjoy this, so do pick this up if this sounds interesting to you. So the next book I want to talk about is The Wonder by Emma Donoghue. So I absolutely adored this book. I just wish I could read it all the time, just constantly, just finish it and then start it again. It is absolutely, definitely one of my favourite books of the year. The Binding is my favourite book of the year, but this comes a close second. This was absolutely brilliant. Emma Donoghue's writing is clear, concise, but at the same time very descriptive, and she writes in a way that it's very easy to imagine the characters, very easy to imagine the settings, very easy to imagine the conflict that's going on in the kind of narrative. So I should probably tell you what it's about, really. It's about a lady called Lib living in Victorian England, and she was a nurse under Florence Nightingale, and she is employed by a committee in Ireland to go over to Ireland, the centre of Ireland, and to monitor a young girl who is living out there, who is said to have not eaten for 4 months. And so she's sent out there to kind of watch this girl and just check whether she's eating or not, and then to report back to this committee. And it's all about her relationship with that community, her relationship that she gets with the young girl that she's monitoring. It tackles some really amazing themes. It tackles the idea of miracles within the Catholic Church. It tackles the idea of mother and daughter relationships and the conflicts that can happen there. It tackles prejudice. It tackles lots of different things, and it is absolutely captivating. I read this so quickly, and I'm a very slow reader, as you all know. But I read this really, really, really quickly. Again, Katie over at Books and Things recommended this. I'll link the video that she where she talks about this book down below. Yeah, give it a read. It's blooming brilliant. Really loved it. And the last book I want to talk about is the book that I'm actually reading at the moment. So I'm only about 80 pages through this, but I'm really enjoying it. I bought it on a recent trip to London. I popped into Hatchards in Piccadilly, one of my favourite bookshops, and picked this up. And that is How to Be a Tudor, A Dawn to Dusk Guide to Everyday Life by Ruth Goodman. So I've been obsessed with the Tudors ever since I was about 5 years old and I saw Anne of a Thousand Days, probably the best film ever made. And ever since then, I've been absolutely obsessed with the Tudors, and everything that's kind of come out on TV about them, I've absolutely devoured. I read books about the, non-fiction books about the Tudors when I was very, very, very young, and was just devoured everything I could find about them. And I still, to this day, love watching things on TV about the Tudor period and reading books about the Tudor period. One thing I really like about this is it's kind of a day, it goes through a kind of typical day of an average Tudor person. So it starts with, waking up in the morning, washing, getting dressed and all of that, and then goes on to talk about what they would have for breakfast, that kind of thing. So it's really insightful. And I think one of the great things about this is that there's a lot of books out there about the Tudor period that focus on, obviously, Henry VIII as the kind of main focal point of monarchy at that time. But this book focuses on just the everyday, normal Tudor person, really. And that's kind of something that's not really explored very much or spoken about very much. It's always very much focused on the monarchy of the Tudor period. Most books that I read are. So this was really, really interesting to find out just kind of what average Tudors did with their day. I can't wait to read more of this. I'm really, really enjoying it. So yeah, How to Be a Tudor by Ruth Goodman. So that's it from me today. I will be back soon with another video where I'm going to talk about some of my golden oldies, books that I've read a while ago but are still some of my favourites. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you soon. Do I need to spend a penny before I record this? No.